If you go into a nightclub and a singer wanted to sing, they needed a live musician. That was me.
What made you so good at being able to be adaptable?
I would love to say work ethic, but I don't think that's the answer.
You've got an understanding of people and systems.
I've just helped them buy their dream.
Most people want better, but they're not prepared to do something about it because it's too hard.
The price of success is paid in full and in advance.
Some people had a few steps, some people had no idea. How did they get to the steps?
People didn't achieve their success by luck. They did these steps without knowing they were doing these steps.
Was that transition difficult for you? Welcome back to Gladiator TV. I'm Dave Crane. I'm not Dariush Soudi. He's on the way back. He's just got to save us from Martians first before he arrives, or some incredible adventure like that. But meanwhile, you're still in great company because our next guest is going to share with us a ton of things that by the time you finish listening to today's podcast, you'll be able to launch your business, write a book, have a podcast, and change everything in your life so you can find success in 11 easy steps. Who are we talking about? Well, it's my complete pleasure to bring one of my best friends, possibly my big brother. Sometimes he acts like my dad, but I love him to bits, the incredible Jeff Smith. He is known as KPI guy, and he's known as that because he's the best-selling author of all time on the subjects of KPIs. But how did he get there? Let's find out. Jeff Smith.
Dave Crane, my son.
Well, we're the same age. There's a clear gap between you running a business and me being a DJ. I think me coming out of it and going, what should I do now?
I know. Honestly, I feel blessed because whenever you have a problem, a serious problem, as these as let's speak to you.
That's my wife. That's my wife. Yeah, talk to Jeff. So let me explain. It sounds like I'm having a therapy session. It's not the case, I promise you. So let's take it back a little while. Jeff and I knew each other from being in speaker communities. Both of us doing a lot of big gigs around the world, and there's mutual respect. And what happened was during the pandemic, when everything froze, it was worse for speakers, wasn't it? Because what happened is we went from busy and chasing work and being offered work to zero for 2 years.
Yeah.
And you and I connected by conversation. I can't remember who did it first.
It was me, Dave.
Of course it was. So I contacted him first to go onto Zoom. And one of the things we both discovered, that's right, I was doing a podcast at the time with Ernesto, yes, all about the toilet paper diaries, because at the beginning of the pandemic, people were fighting over toilet paper.
It was actually before then we met.
Oh, we met, but we weren't doing the stuff that we're doing now, but I'm just about to talk about it. Right, yeah. Stop interrupting. So as I was saying, we jumped on a Zoom call and we both let off steam about what was going on in the world and in our collective worlds about the speaking business. And we both had a passion, not only for what we did, but also for how to turn what would be a normal Zoom presentation into something that would emulate CNN or Fox News. So you could create everything, show videos, move the camera around, all that stuff, because we knew that would be the next game that people would be playing until the foreseeable future, and we were both very good at it. And that's how the conversation sort of progressed from there. From my point of view, I might have been crying into my coffee before then, but this is what I remember.
Memory is a wonderful thing.
Of which I have none of it.
Yeah, so it's been a while, long enough, I would say. We've lived a few journeys, lost a few loved ones in between, so we've bonded over many things for sure.
And during that time, I'm blessed to say that you're one of the first people I talk to when I'm not sure what the answer should be. 99% of the time, you reinforce the answers that I probably had come up with anyway, but sometimes bring a different perspective is really good, and sometimes I get really grumpy because you are the king of grumpy. You just say, don't do it this way. So here's the thing, I brought him in to be able to share this stuff with you. We're here in Dubai, in the UAE, and one of the things that hasn't come out from this conversation is Jeff is one of the foremost experts on the automobile industry. If you've got a car and you drive it on a regular basis, the odds are the manufacturers of that car go to Jeff to train their management, to train their workshops, and to guarantee that people do more sales and do better customer service than anyone else in the world. So how did you get to this point where you're the KPI guy and you are so close and synonymous with the automobile industry? From, I know originally you had a lot of hair and you used to play keyboards.
Now. Let's stay with the show.
We're not editing that at all.
Okay, so the KPI guy, what's this all about? How did I reach the pinnacle of the automotive industry? It's a fascinating story, really, because I'm hoping, Dave, this is what the show will be about. Not about my journey, but really how it happened. Because what really happened, I come from, I won't say a poor family, because poor is a state of mind. We were broke. That's a state of pocket. So we lived in a state home and buried in debt and things like that.
In the UK?
In the UK, yes. And so I realized from an early age, I don't want this kind of life for the rest of my life. And I was thinking then at age 16, 17 already, how does a millionaire become a millionaire? How does that happen? Because my dad, he was a really clever guy. He was the manager of the largest machine shop in Europe, yet we had nothing. How is that? Because life is not fair, right? So at the age of 18, I became a professional musician. So I was a keyboard player. And at that time, I did have hair, Dave.
There you go, a lot of it.
Okay, so that's it now.
Okay.
So now we're talking back in the 1970s. CD was not invented. Certainly the internet wasn't. DAT, digital audio tape, you'll remember that as a DJing guy. So if you go into a nightclub and a singer wanted to sing, they needed a live musician. That was me. So during the day, I used to sell pianos, keyboards, guitars, and then by night time, pack up the van and then off to a nightclub all over the UK. And I was backing some very famous, successful people.
Like who?
Lenny Henry, all of those, lots.
So were you playing keyboards to bring them on and then they did like a comedy act? Or were you playing backing keyboards while they're singing? Or both?
Okay, so let's take Lenny Henry. He's a comedian, right? So he would come on. But
Sir Lenny Henry now, isn't it?
Sir Lenny Henry, yes. So he would come on and he would have some musical sketch that might require music. So, for instance, he used to do an impression of Trevor McDonald.
I remember.
Or Trevor McDonald, as he used to call it.
Newsreader.
So that's it. So there was no music backing track to play news at 10. So the drummer would be going, boom, 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 and I'm on the keyboards, da, 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 da. So it was introducing his Trevor McDonald, that kind of thing. But
incidental music.
In the case of Lenny Henry, yes. But on other times, there might just be a singer. So, and what happens, you meet the singer in what's called the green room beforehand. They give you a pile of what they call dots, the music. And, we'll play this one first, then this one, here to here. So I just put the music on, play the music, and then they'd sing. Some very famous singers. But during...
Like who? You're not dropping names now.
Well, it's not just singers. So if you want to know about success, I've interviewed Paul McKenna, I think you know. Just Margaret Thatcher, John Major, some politicians in there.
When you interviewed him, you said these are people that you were asking questions to for the success secrets steps that you're going to be sharing with us. Yes. Can I just backtrack slightly? Yeah. Because you've said that you had very humble beginnings, but you wanted to know how to become a millionaire. Did you find that anybody around you felt the same way, or were they not interested, or did they actually alienate themselves from you, or you had to do that to them to be able to have that mindset? Because most people want better, but they're not prepared to do something about it because it's too hard.
Okay, let me take all of those questions and answer them in one. I was on my own.
Okay.
So the circle in which I lived, everybody else was in the same scenario. And I thought, I don't want this for me. How do I get out? And I had no idea. So I thought the best way would be to interview successful people. Now, what's fascinating, Sitting here now and looking back at what I did, you've heard of a guy called Napoleon Hill?
It's exactly what he did.
It's exactly what he did. Well, during then, I knew nothing about personal development, never heard of Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill was Think and Grow Richer, wasn't
That's
it?
correct, yes. So he interviewed lots and lots of people. I interviewed at that time, formally, 325 people. I've done more since, of course, but then what happened? I started talking to people, and at 18, I didn't really understand what I was asking. So Lenny Henry and all these people also came from poor backgrounds, and I said, how did this happen? How did you get to here? And then I was asking these questions, and then I started noticing commonalities in their answers.
Before you said commonalities, you weren't interviewing them and recording it. You were just in conversation, going through a mental checklist of reverse engineering how they got there.
Well, there's nothing to record them on in that stage.
That's true.
There's
Well, you could have written it down.
Well, this is where it went to. So once I started identifying, and it took a couple of years, I think there's some commonalities here. I now need to be more intelligent with my questions rather than having a random discussion. So I thought about some questions that would capture the common elements. And if I go forward now, coming out of these 325 formalized interviews, I found 11 steps that they all did in common.
Interesting.
Now, what is interesting is some of the people were aware of these 11 steps and actively did them. Very few, I have to say. Some of them were aware of some of the steps and were active on some of them, but were completely unaware of the others that were at play. And there were some that just didn't know they did it, and they were lucky. Of course, they were not lucky. They did it, and what they did generated results. So I refined these 11 steps, and I thought, if I apply these to my life, can I be successful also? So then I redefined success after a few years. So it started off, how does a millionaire become a millionaire? Then it became, success doesn't always equal $1 million. For some it might do, for others it's completely different. So throughout this journey of these 325 interviews, it was finding out, well, what does success mean for you? Once you can then define what success is, then it's, well, how do we then apply these 11 steps to then make this success happen for you? And what's great, Dave, these 11 steps apply to everything in life.
I can't wait to find out what they are. But what I want to ask you before we go there is, when you're talking to these people and they're saying about the 11 steps, you said some people planned it, some people had a few steps, some people had no idea. How did they get to the steps? Was it just pure luck? Did they stumble upon a pot of gold and they implemented something? Or what was it that, because it must be something that makes certain people be successful and certain other people who could have done well, friends from school who did all the things right, who went on to obscurity. We've all had those.
Yes, well, you're right, but let me, a little piece of clarity here. People didn't achieve their success by luck. What they did these steps without knowing they were doing these steps. And it's the steps themselves that are the actions that deliver the results that they need. Some people just did them innately. I don't know why they did it. I don't know the science behind it. I just did it. But Jeff, now you've told me, well, that makes sense. Now I can make success happen a lot faster for me. So they didn't achieve their success by luck. They just happened to deliver on what the 11 steps were without knowing what these 11 steps are.
Amazing. So tell me, reveal steps. Everyone's drooling. Hurry up, stop talking about other people. Tell me how I become a successful multimillionaire. And you can apply this to everything, can't you? Most things in life can come from this.
So, most people think, wouldn't it be wonderful to have $1 million? It's actually not the $1 million that's wonderful. It's what the $1 million does for you. And given $1 million, what would you do with it? a million people would do a million different things. So it's not the money that's the motivator, it's what the opportunity of the money does for you. So a goal wouldn't be to get the $1 million. The goal would be what the $1 million would do for you. So, and that's a critical difference. So, what I did then, 325 interviews, all written down in note form. I distilled from this the 11 steps, and then I had a major project. So from now, I had decided to give up the career in the musician. I just fell out of love with it. Didn't know what I wanted to do.
How old were you when you decided to make that decision?
23.
Okay, so you've done it for what, 5 years? Something like that?
Yeah. Professional full-time, like 7 days a week, 7 nights a week full-time. So it wasn't a light decision. But as you know, Dave, as a DJ yourself and things like that, you're giving the good time to everybody else and you have no time for yourself.
Your downtime of recovery is surrounded by people who don't want to play.
Yeah.
And so consequently, when you work Christmas and work New Year, everyone loves the time that you share with them. But where's your Christmas? Where's your New Year? Where's your Eid? Where's your weekends?
Yeah, gone. And at 23, I'm starting to think now, maybe at some point I might meet the woman of my dreams. I already had it this time. But then I think, if I want to get married and have kids, this is not the life I want. It's not. It's not. And I didn't love music enough. So I quit. So I didn't know what to do. I was still living with my parents at the time. And my dad said, okay, you've got some money in the bank, you've done well, but you can't sit on your ass. You have to get out, get a job. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was burnt out and exhausted. So he threw the newspaper at me, opened it to the jobs page, have a look through there. And I thought, I just need to rest for a little while. So I opened it up and he said, car salesman required.
No.
Yep.
I didn't know this bit.
Yeah,
You've never said this to me until now.
Hey, I've not told you everything, Dave.
Wow, it could have said male stripper. We'd have a different conversation then.
That's a different discussion for a different day.
That's one of my stories. Let's not go there.
So car salesman required. You get £50 a week. The rest is on commission. You get a company car. That's it. Off you go. So I thought, I'll just do that for something to do, and then play it by ear. Let's just see what happens. I had no intention of staying there. So I went along, and it was a Volkswagen dealership, and it was the Friday, so I went along, and I understood what they were looking for, and they said, great, start Monday. So from Friday afternoon, I had the weekend off, and I started Monday. So I turn up. Now, my real advantage, I'm 23 years old, and from the age of 14, like yourself, I'd grown up with adults, and I mean famous adults. So I was used to senior conversation, and my rapport skills were great. So I hadn't grown up with 14, 15-year-old kids. I'd grown up with adults. So at 23, I could hold a conversation with pretty much anyone. And selling cars is about rapport skills. And I had great rapport skills. So the way the automotive industry works, you don't need any qualifications. You turn up on a Friday afternoon. Can I have a job? Yeah, start Monday, and off you go. So I sold a lot of cars. Then what happened after 2 years...
Can I just rewind before you go to the next 2 years? When you go from being an entertainer to doing a normal job, which being a car salesman is a normal job, there's a part of you that still yearns for applause from audiences. Did you feel that? But it's this must be a thing that when you come down off it. When I stopped doing radio, there's a large part of me that said you've still got to entertain. So I carried on entertainment even though I didn't want to do radio anymore. How did you cope with that at that stage, or were you just so burnt out you didn't care?
I was burnt out.
Okay.
I was completely burnt out. I wanted the world to stop and I wanted to step off.
All right.
I was done. And at 23, that's sad.
Yeah.
So anyway, sold a lot of cars and wonderful rapport. And when someone buys a car, to answer your question, the audience claps. Of course, the the new car owner doesn't clap, but the smile of delight they have and the
yeah.
pleasure you give them in the buying process is the same thing.
It's still a feedback loop
Yeah,
from you have
yeah.
delivered to somebody who, because of you, is loving what you've shared.
I've just helped them buy their dream.
Mm.
So it's a similar kind of thing, you know. So I put them in, hand over the car, and it was a wonderful experience for me too. And they'd drive away, oh, thank you, Jeff. And it just so it's a similar kind of thing. So I was still feeling the love. So that was good. So I enjoyed that. Then after a couple of years, what usually happens with the automotive industry, the best salesperson gets promoted to be sales manager. And I got promoted to be sales manager. So I did okay at that. I did very well at that. I understand business. I know how business works. A couple of years go by. I then get promoted to be general manager. So
We're jumping some steps here, because when you go from being a top salesman to being sales manager, there's different skills. Your ability to sell and being a really good solo artist, effectively, from a music point of view,
absolutely.
is different from taking a step back and now managing everybody and really selling. Your job is not to sell, it's to look after everybody. Was that transition difficult for you?
It wasn't, but to be honest, I didn't understand what I was doing. To use your words, maybe I was lucky. Because I knew what needed to happen. When I look at it now, would I do it the same? No, of course I wouldn't. But I did okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think they call it the Peter principle, don't they? Getting somebody promoted beyond their capability, and then they become the worst person in that job.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
No, I'm not saying you were. Luckily, I wasn't born at that time yet, so it's okay. Carry on, Dad.
So we did well as sales manager. So then, after another couple of years, I got promoted to general manager. So I'm now at 27, and I'm the youngest general manager in the UK. And everybody's going, whoa, what happened? And I'd started to use and implement these 11 steps of success.
Wow.
So the point here is, not only do they help you to be successful, they accelerate it, Dave. They make it happen much, much faster. So that happened. Another 2 years, I got to be promoted to a board director. So a car dealership, there's about 350 people employed. You have at least 4 businesses inside: a sales department, a service department, a parts department, a body shop, used vehicles, car rental. So there's lots of different ways that the business works within the one business. So it just gave me a fantastic grounding into understanding different types of businesses. One selling time, another one selling product. So it was just a baptism of fire, but I thrived.
One of the things that's so fascinating, there's lots of things that's fascinating about what you said, is I do a lot of work in tech, hosting a lot of tech conferences and so on. And there's one particular role, which is a CIO, you know, the guy who's in charge of choosing all the tech that comes in, the information and so on. And everyone says because of the power that they have, they should be the next CEO. But the problem is these guys are brilliant at what they do, but they haven't spent time in the other departments. They have no interest in the other departments. So they make the worst CEO because all they do is look at people as programs. You were forced, or you got an opportunity to understand the overview, and you were able to do it. What made you so good at being able to be adaptable?
Oh, I don't know the answer to that one. I would love to say work ethic, but I don't think that's the answer.
Can I throw something in as a solution?
Sure.
If you're an entertainer, you work with different audiences and you have to produce a result. Yeah. And when you see what's in front of you, you say, right, that's who we have. It's busy or it's packed or it's empty. I've got to deliver this to them. And you adapt. And you learn to get in my terms as an entertainer, I get the Wi-Fi code of the audience in front of me. And maybe in your case, because you'd have that experience of 5 years of brutally doing gigs up and down the country, you've got an understanding of people and systems. Somebody would hand you the sheet music and you'd have to look at it and go, right, that's what we're working with. So maybe your adaptability was a superpower at that time.
I don't doubt it. I'll take that and run with it, without doubt. And even now, I would say it's still a superpower because it's adaptability that gets you through all of these things, like COVID and setting up our broadcast studios, adaptability, we were doing it daily, right? And it still wasn't enough. We were still, and still to, for you, you have a choice. You give up on your goal or you give up on the people. And I'm afraid, yes, it is as hard as that. What do you want? And then, are you prepared to pay for what you want? Because here's one of the rules. The price of success is paid in full and in advance. You have to do all the work first, then you get your reward. You don't achieve your goal and then pay the price for it afterwards. You pay before.
So when we're talking about that specific point, about the fact that we're talking about the ecosystem, the people around you, and we have had to make decisions that actually lose you people who were on the journey with you for a large chunk. And then you have to turn around. And there's a phrase that my wife was looking into, and she shared with me, and I probably mentioned this to you before, the phrase that everybody uses, which is blood is thicker than water, which is a way of getting families to pull together. And I know it's your brother, so look after your brother, not everybody else. But the actual original phrase is the blood of a covenant is thicker than the water. The blood of a covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, which means that you actually should be creating friends as your new family, because your old family are going to be whatever they are. You don't have to finish your journey by supporting people who don't get it. And that goes back over hundreds and hundreds of years as a saying which has been twisted since. That's effectively what we're talking about here, isn't it?
Well, if you go right back to the introduction here of this actual podcast.
I can't remember that far back,
I know,
Jeff.
it's a long time, right?
3 hours it's
Yeah,
been.
you've had to sleep since then. Thank goodness for editing.
There you go.
So, if I might remind you, we were talking about key performance indicators, and most people keep the same set of key performance indicators. And I said, throughout a journey, our objectives change. Therefore, the key performance indicators you have will change. We grow. Now, the people in our life don't always grow with us at the same rate. So when we grow and develop and we learn some more things, we become different people. And I think I said to you a few weeks ago, Dave, my daughter's got my wedding photographs out. I've been married 40 years. And we look back at the wedding photos and there's a picture of me. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I don't recognize that guy. And I don't mean, oh, he's got hair.
He's got so much hope in his eyes.
I mean, the person who I was then, I could not believe has turned into the person I am now. And even 5 years ago, everything about me has changed. And so people will not travel that journey with you unless their goal is shared in some way.
Why won't they travel with you? Because you want them to. You're desperate for them to do it.
It makes no difference what you want. The goal is for you and what you want. And this is why I say you need the right support group around you. So if you don't have the right people, whether that's friends, whether it's family or whomever, if they're not traveling the same journey and want the same things, one of them have to give. So you either have to change your goal or change the people in your life.
Is there any way to convert them to get them to go on that journey with you from your experience? Or is it that you just have to bite the bullet and say, this is one life I get here, I've got to make the most of it?
That's a personal decision, isn't it, Dave? I don't know. That's different for everyone. But
the conversion people is a real question. From your experience, have you seen people who've managed to turn their partners or their friends or their family onto the way that they can move forward? Maybe the way to do it is just to let them stand back and just love you and trust you to do your own thing. And as a parent, that's what we often have to do anyway.
Yes. I've helped my kids with their goals, and it's our role to stand back and support. But my aim here is not to answer that question. It's the question of, to achieve success, you need the right support group.
Fair enough.
That's it. How you do it will depend on what is it that you're asking for.
So therefore, your answer, which wasn't an answer, which is no. You can't. You can't change them. You can only change yourself.
I'm not going there, Dave, because it's a non-specific, general question that somebody might say, "Oh, my wife's not happy, therefore I'm getting a divorce because Jeff Smith just said it on this podcast." I'm not saying that.
Okay, but here's the thing. I'm going to go slightly into this because
sure.
I know how smart you are, and I know that you do think through everything before you say it. I also know that in this situation, there'll be a ton of people watching this podcast right now who are going through a dilemma. Do I stay in my relationship? Do I stay in my job? Do I stay in my country? Do I change my hair? Do I go for an operation? Do I put my money into these stocks or go to crypto? These are all questions that people are asking all the time. And there's comfort zone answers.
Yeah.
And sometimes the comfort zone is to be uncomfortable forever.
Yeah.
So going back to that, at what point, if you don't answer my question properly, that's fine. But at what point should you, what's KPIs should you use to make that decision about moving forward or not?
All right, let me put this into real context. So, I've been to another business meeting this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, I had a meeting with a young Arabic lady. I'm not going to tell you her name. And so...
Steve.
Yeah, Steve, that will do. And she was asking me some things about life in general. And it was, there's pressure to get married. Should I get married? Should I have children? And it's these kinds of questions in life. And I'm saying, what do you want in your life? And it really comes back to that, Dave. It's based on what do you want, and then how much do you want it? If that is a burning desire, which all successful people have a burning desire, and the price of success is paid in full and in advance. One of those prices might be you might have a really good friend in your friendship circle, and you might find out that that person is no longer helpful to you on your current goal. They might have been 50% of the way through, but the remaining 50%, you're going on a higher level. You're doing a different thing. You have a different level of credibility. So now, how much do you want this goal? Do you want to keep this person in your life and stay where you are on your current achievements? And that might be fine. But if you want to go a level above where this other person is, you have to leave this person behind. What I'm saying is the price of success is paid in full and in advance.
I love that. That's a really, really smart way of answering the unanswerable question. So let's go on to the next one, because I think we're at number 4. And you've got 11 to go through. At some point, it's going to be dark, and we have to say Santa Claus is coming up. So let's...
Okay, we're not going to have the time to do all 11.
What?
No.
We promised. What's all that about? We've got an audience here saying, Uncle Jeff.
Well, what we can do, Uncle Dave, I can come back again and perhaps add some more on it. But...
Or they can buy your book.
I've not written this one, and this is another interesting story. So here's a great one. I have the outline written, and of course the advertisement written for a book called, and the title is not locked in yet, The 11 Steps of Success. So what I've done, I've created a chapter for each step, and they're not in an order apart from step 1, 2, and 3. They're in order, the rest are in random orders. So what I've done, I've explained the science behind it, then how I've applied it to my life, and then I've done some podcasts with some people so you can listen to how they did it in their life. But I'm on the podcast.
You've done 3 seasons of podcasts, haven't you?
6.
6, is it?
Yeah.
That's the last time I talked to you then.
Yeah.
And clearly it was important because you had me on it.
Yes, absolutely. And
Right.
I want you back again.
Yeah, let's
now you've got your book.
Yeah.
Because here we go. I had you before you wrote the book and your current thinking. Now I want you after your book and your current thinking, and then I want to play both back to you, so you can see your journey.
Very good.
Because I've stood back and watched it and helped you along, where you've become another person through that.
You are Yoda. As opposed to me, who normally looks like Yoda.
Yeah.
So continue, because I'm fascinated by all this.
Okay. By your podcast.
No, not remotely, but I'm fascinated by the other steps and the time that we can get in. Do you mind paraphrasing any of them to get in? Because I'd hate for you to cut it off.
Sure.
Because there's people going like that.
Okay. To give a little won't help. So I might write something for you and send it, and then you can send it to your leadership group or something like that. We'll find a way. I'll help you to do it. So I forgot what I want to say now.
We were talking about the steps of how far we've gone with it. You talked about doing a podcast. So you've done 6 episodes.
So here's an example about how much you want something and what's important in your life. This is where we were. So I have the outline for this 11 steps of success. I have the 11 chapters mapped out. I have 60 podcasts edited so people can listen to each step and what people have done. What I did then, this was just after COVID, I booked an apartment here in Dubai, and I thought I'll come to Dubai and I have a little routine. So I get up in the morning, I run 5K, I'll do some writing, have some lunch, do some more writing, meet Dave Crane for dinner, rinse and repeat. After 2 weeks, I'll have a book written.
And I hope you got something out of today's podcast that you can use to move forward into the future. Talking about the future, we will get Dariush back in this seat in another episode coming soon. Meanwhile, it's been an honor having you with us. If you've got any thoughts, comments, questions, or just want to share this podcast with somebody who needs to hear it, please feel free. It's our gift to you. But meanwhile, we look forward to catching up with you and some more incredible guests in this space, on this channel, in the future. Thank you for watching Gladiator TV.